right, get ready because we're about to go deep on some pretty intense stuff today. Remember that YouTube video you sent? The one called "So Nobody Can't Stop You Anymore. This is your time for success." Oh.
Yeah.
Well, in this deep dive, we're going to try to break down that message and see if it speaks to you.
It's certainly a very bold title, isn't it?
It is. It kind of grabs you right away.
Oh.
And it's from a channel called Inspirational Prayers and Stories, so you get the sense that they're pretty serious about this stuff. What I find interesting, though, is how the video goes beyond just like basic inspiration. It feels like it's tapping into something deeper that humans need to be recognized and to succeed.
Absolutely. I mean, it speaks to this pretty universal desire to be seen, to have your talents recognized and to kind of rise above all those who doubted you. It's almost like a modern day David and Goliath story, but instead of fighting a giant, you're going up against obscurity and indifference.
That's a great way to put it. And the video really plays up that underdog rising to the top story. It creates this picture of like a huge shift happening in your life, as if everything's suddenly going your way.
Right, and it's interesting how the video doesn't just focus on like an internal transformation. It also talks about how the shift changes the way other people see you. Like suddenly, those who used to ignore you are now giving you this newfound respect, even a little bit of fear.
It's like they're seeing you in a whole new light, and it's kind of freaking them out. Talk about quiet, uneasy glances and hesitation in their voices, like people are measuring their words around you. Makes you wonder, is their behavior really changing, or are they just projecting their own insecurities onto your newfound confidence?
That's a great question. It makes you think about the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies. As you start believing in yourself, your confidence kind of radiates outwards, and it subtly influences how others treat you.
It's almost like your inner strength is creating a ripple effect, changing the dynamics of your relationships.
Exactly. And that brings up another fascinating point. While the video says that this transformation comes from divine intervention, that God is the one elevating and preparing you for success, we could also analyze it from a psychological perspective.
Oh, totally. The video just throws out phrases like, God was elevating you, God was preparing you, and God's plan. And for some people, that's super empowering. It gives them purpose, knowing they're a part of some larger plan guided by a higher power.
Yeah, it provides a sense of order in a world that often feels really chaotic. But for others, it can feel a little deterministic, like their actions and choices don't really matter because it's all already decided by God.
Definitely raises some questions about free will and destiny. Regardless of your own spiritual beliefs, though, the video's focus on divine intervention just shows how much humans need to find meaning and purpose in their lives.
For sure. We all want to feel like our lives have significance, like our struggles and triumphs are all part of a bigger story.
And speaking of stories, the video doesn't just talk about divine intervention in general terms. It uses some of the biggest names from the Bible to make its point.
Yeah. We're talking David and Goliath, Joseph, Esther, these iconic figures who overcame impossible odds and came out on top. It's a classic storytelling technique, using familiar narratives to connect with the audience and inspire them.
And it really works. I mean, who doesn't love a good underdog story? It taps into that basic desire to see good conquer evil and the weak overcome the strong. But it also raises some questions about how we understand and take in these stories.
Like if you see yourself as the chosen one, destined for greatness, does that make you more self-confident or does it make you feel entitled and superior? And how does that affect your relationships with people who don't share that same view?
Wow, now we're really getting into the details here. It's interesting to see how this video, which seems pretty simple on the surface, actually has all these layers of meaning and psychological complexity.
It's kind of like peeling back the layers of an onion. The more you explore it, the more nuances and complexities you discover.
And we're just getting started. This deep dive is just starting to get good, so stay tuned as we keep exploring the psychological and social implications of this message.
What's really interesting is how the video uses these Bible stories almost like a guide to success. It's not just about finding inspiration from their struggles, it's more about seeing them as a model for how God works, lifting up those who are humble and giving power to the overlooked.
Yeah, it definitely has this God's favorites vibe to it. Like, if you do what God wants, you'll be rewarded with success and everyone will recognize you. But that brings up some tricky questions, right? Like, what about the people who don't become as successful? Does that mean they're not as good or that God doesn't like them as much?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. You can see how that kind of thinking could make people feel spiritually superior or even judgmental towards those who haven't achieved the same level of worldly success. But I think it's important to remember that success can have so many different meanings.
Exactly. And what might look like. Success from the outside might not feel that way to the person actually living it. Everyone has different values and goals, different ideas of what makes a good life.
Right. Maybe that's one of the main takeaways here. It's not about accepting someone else's idea of success or thinking that there's only one way to be fulfilled. It's about defining success for yourself and finding what truly speaks to you.
That's a really good point. So even if we put the religious part aside for a minute, there's still a lot to think about in terms of personal growth and believing in yourself. It's like the video is giving you permission to embrace your potential and become a more empowered version of yourself.
Definitely. And that message of empowerment can be really freeing, especially for people who are struggling with self-doubt or feeling like they're not living up to their full potential. It's like a little push that says, hey, you can do amazing things. Don't be afraid to shine.
Yeah, like it's sparking that inner fire, that drive to create and achieve and make a positive impact. And that's something everyone can connect with, no matter what they believe or where they come from.
Exactly. It speaks to that human desire to make a difference, to leave your mark on the world. And that leads to another interesting point. The video talks about how this change will be seen in the way others see you. But what about how you see yourself?
That's a really cool angle. It's not just about other people recognizing you, it's about changing from within. How does this new sense of purpose and self-belief change the way you view yourself, how you interact with the world, the choices you make?
It's like stepping into a whole new reality, one where you're not limited by your past or by what others think you can do. And that can be a really powerful and freeing experience.
It's like shedding your old self and becoming a more authentic, more powerful you. But let's face it, personal growth isn't always easy. There are going to be challenges, times when you doubt yourself.
For sure. And that's where resilience comes in. The video uses those Bible stories not just as examples of success, but also as examples of resilience facing challenges head on and becoming stronger because of them. It's about seeing those obstacles as opportunities to grow, learning from your mistakes, and developing that inner strength that keeps you going even when things are tough.
Yeah, like you're building up your mental muscles, getting tougher, so you can handle anything life throws at you.
Yeah.
And I think that message really connects with anyone who's faced adversity, anyone who's had to overcome obstacles to reach their goals.
Absolutely. And it's especially relevant in today's world with all the challenges and pressures we face. It's about building that inner strength, that unshakable belief in yourself that helps you deal with life's complexities with grace and determination.
Like developing this internal compass that guides you through the good times and bad, keeping you true to your values and your vision, even when the world throws you curveballs.
And that brings up another really important part of personal growth that people often forget: the importance of community and connection. While the video focuses on individual change, we have to remember that we're not isolated. Our relationships with others play a crucial role in how we grow and how happy we are.
Such a crucial point. It's not just about being successful on your own. It's about forming meaningful relationships, supporting others, and feeling like you belong and have a shared purpose.
And that goes beyond any specific belief system. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and how connected we are, and the power of working together.
So even if we remove the religious stuff, the video's message still has a powerful truth. We all have the potential to create positive change in our lives and in the world.
Exactly. It's about tapping into that well of strength, resilience, and compassion within you and using it to make a difference.
This deep dive has really got me thinking about how we can apply these ideas in our own lives, no matter what we believe or where we come from.
It's about finding what speaks to you, what makes you feel empowered, and using it to build a life that feels real and meaningful.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. It feels like we've barely scratched the surface of all the ideas and themes in this video. But before we wrap up, there's one question I can't shake. What if we took this idea of personal change and applied it to society as a whole?
Now that's a question worth thinking about. Stay tuned, because we're coming back with a final thought that just might blow your mind.
All right, we're back, and I gotta say, that last question has really been sticking with me. What happens when we apply this whole idea of personal transformation to, like, society at large? It's almost, I don't know, it's a lot to process.
It is a big question, no doubt, but I think it's worth thinking about. I mean, society is really just a bunch of individuals, right? So if enough people experience that kind of internal change, that boost in confidence and feeling empowered, could it create a ripple effect that actually changes the systems and structures around us?
That's a really interesting idea. It's like
Yes.
almost like we're talking about a collective awakening, you know, a change in how we think that pushes us past limitations and old ways of thinking.
Right. It makes you wonder, what if everyone embraced that unstoppable mindset? The belief that we can work together to create a better world. Do you think we could overcome those huge challenges we're facing as a society?
You mean things like poverty, inequality, climate change, those problems that feel so big, so overwhelming, that it's tempting to just give up and say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. But what if that's just like a limiting belief? What if we've been told that story so many times that we just believe it? What if we started to believe in our collective power to actually make a difference?
It's like that image from the video, remember? Those doors that seemed locked suddenly swinging open without any effort. Except instead of individual doors, we're talking about unlocking the potential of entire communities, maybe even entire countries.
Wow, that's powerful. It reminds me of those social movements in history that started with just a small group of people who believed in a different future. They questioned the way things were, they pushed boundaries, and in the end, they created lasting change.
And those movements weren't just about fighting against something, right? They were about fighting for something, for equality, for justice, for a world that reflects our values and hopes. It's about tapping into that collective power of hope, that belief that we can work together to build a better future.
And that feeling of hope is contagious, don't you think? When you see other people taking action, standing up for what they believe in, it motivates you to do the same. It's like that ripple effect we talked about. But instead of just impacting individual relationships, it's changing entire communities.
And it doesn't have to be these big, dramatic actions or revolutions. It can be those small, everyday things we do that show courage and compassion, speaking up for what's right, helping someone in need, choosing kindness over apathy. Those little things can have a ripple effect that spreads much further than we realize.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world, right? It's about taking ownership of our thoughts, words, and actions, and recognizing that we all have the power to make a difference, even if it seems small.
And it's also about realizing that we're not on this journey alone. We're all interconnected, and each of us has a part to play in creating a world that's more just, compassionate, and sustainable.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener? That's something to think about. How can you apply these ideas of personal change and collective action to your own life? What small steps can you take today to create that ripple effect of positive change in your community and beyond? Remember, you're not alone in this. We're all in this together. And if we work together, we can create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.